I think Donald Trump is the one who made the Republican Party cool again. Trump is the one who, just with his fuck you attitude and his taking on wokeness, he brought Elon over. Elon, he wasn't responsible for building Trump's constituency. It was totally Trump. Elon came, with all due respect to Elon, he was quite late to the party. We were all there celebrating Trump. And he had brought in tons of young people and changed the coalition with black and brown and other Americans. And then Elon seemed to really get on board and respected what happened with Butler and all that. And so, I just feel like he was one of the late arrivals. He was more in the Joe Rogan, Theo Von camp, who very late in the game said, I love this guy. But a lot of us were there without those guys for a very long time on President Trump's side and singing his praises.
I agree with that. And of course, as soon as President Trump emerged from the first primary in Iowa, I think, some of us were campaigning with him, some of us were raising money for him and all of the rest. But I will say that the one area where I do think something happened is there was a permission structure that did not exist before Elon and some of the tech bros jumped in that said that it was okay to be a high income earner in a blue area and say out loud that you supported President Trump. 3 years ago, if you lived in San Francisco and you supported President Trump, you would probably lose your job. And that is no longer the case. Thiel. Yes, and that is no longer the case in a lot of these blue areas. It made it acceptable. Something changed. And it wasn't one thing. I think it was many things. I think one of the things was Joe Biden's absolutely abysmal performance as president, the fact that he was dead. I think part of it is that President Trump ran an actually shockingly disciplined campaign. People forget about how disciplined the campaign actually was for the vast majority of the campaign. And obviously the assassination attempt changed a lot of things about the campaign. There were so many topsy-turvy events. But one of the things that I do think Elon should be given credit for is, again, the creation of a permission structure in people who would be considered the tech community or the white-collar community to say, yeah, you know what, I like Trump and I'm going to put on a MAGA hat, for example, which is something that a lot of those people wouldn't have done. They might have, behind closed doors, been like, yeah, I like Trump and I'm voting for him. I know a lot of those people. I know, Megyn, you know a lot of those people too. But it was really only in the late stages of this election cycle where you started to hear people who were quietly saying that they
I get it. I'm going to back
out
up.
Loud say it,
I'm still not agreeing. I don't dismiss Elon's role in Trump's victory. That I do think he played a role, and it's been great to have him on the side of Team Sanity and paving the way. I had a discussion with a very, very the top guy in tech who was like, we're starting to come around now on our censorship policies when it comes to the gender debate and the race discussions and I was like, oh, you're starting to come around on it now? Now you're going to stop the censorship? And he was like, well, attitudes have changed on it. So I'm like, how do you think that happened? How do you think the attitudes changed because Elon Musk had balls and most of the rest of you did not?